We'll do this in alphabetical order. We'll start with Mr. Askew.
My name's Mark Askew. I'm running for District 2, Walker County Board of Commissioners. A little bit about myself. I grew up here in Walker County, raised my family here, went to Gordon Lee High School and graduated there. Left, went to the military, came back, married my high school sweetheart, and we started our family here in District 2. I've got 20 years of municipal government experience, worked with Walker County government for over 17 years, elected official in the city of Chickamauga for 8 years, back in a very progressive time when we were doing our streetscape program and purchase of the mansion and some things like that. Feel like that I've got some experience to bring to the table. I think that this Board of Commissioners is a wonderful opportunity for us to continue to move Walker County forward. I think that 4 sets of eyes, 5 sets of eyes and ears are better than one. I think that we can come together as a board and move things forward at a fast pace by bringing experience to the table and giving an opportunity to share that experience with the newly elected board, which may or may not be familiar with municipal government service. I think that we have, like I said, a great opportunity here. I think it's very important that we get in behind not only our district candidates, but as was stated by our predecessors on the stage, you know, we will be representing Walker County as a whole. We will be running for office out of our districts, but when we meet at the round table, it will be to represent the county as a whole. And I feel like that the experience that I've got in just the day-to-day ops of municipal government, the infrastructure and things like that, I think it'll help me to share that information with the new board and give them some facts and things that will help them shorten that learning curve and be able to get effective immediately. Again, I appreciate the opportunity. Mark Askew, District 2. Thank you.
Mr. Davis.
Thank you. My name is Tyrone Davis, 48 years old. I've lived in Walker County most of my life, just about all of my life. I grew up here. I attended Chattanooga Valley Elementary, Middle, and High School. I was the first graduating class from Ridgeland High School. I'm married to my wife, Tanya Davis. We've been married for 21 years. We have 2 twins, 16 years old. They attend Ridgeland High School. I had another son, Andre Davis. He passed 7 years ago in a horrific accident. But the only thing that I have experienced in government is paying my taxes, just like everyone here and everyone in our county. And every year, the things that I hear are the same things: roads, infrastructure, our schools, our teachers, our kids. What are we going to do for them? What can we do for them? So in my mind, I look around. I've worked in the community all of my life. I've worked in the recreation departments at Ridgeland High School and at Chattanooga Valley Recreation. I've also worked alongside the Chickamauga Recreations and Rossville Recreations. And it always goes back to the kids. My vision is to do something. We have to start with our kids. I mean, we are adults. We've done our things, and now it's time to teach our kids, to inform our kids, and to help our kids, because they are the future of our county. If our county is going to be great, then we have to start there. And my vision is to help everyone in the community, not just Republicans, not just Democrats, but everybody. We're neighbors. And as neighbors, we should be our neighbors' keepers. If my neighbor has a problem, then I have a problem. If my road is bad, my neighbor's roads are bad. We shop at all the same facilities, same stores, and the businesses that we go to and pay our money to, we all do it in the same places. And there's no reason why we can't work together. And with this board, each district will be represented, and each district will represent the things that the people, the constituents in that district wants. And if we can pull together as one for this county, the better we will be.
Mr. Beasley.
Thank you, Dean. Good morning. I'd like to thank the Georgia Transparency Coalition for having this opportunity for us to speak. My name is Mark Veazey, and I'm running for the Board of Commissioners for District 2. I live in Chickamauga. I have lived here for 13 years. I grew up in Lawrenceville, Georgia. All of my family is from this area. My grandfather, Norm Veazey, was the voice for Chattanooga wrestling. My dad was an All-American from Rossville High School, and if you drive through the battlefield, you'll see my fourth great-grandmother's house, which is the Kelly cabin on the battlefield. I used to come here as a young child. I loved this area, and when I had an opportunity to retire from the FBI, I chose to come back here. I could have gone anywhere I wanted to go. I had that much seniority, but I chose to come here, put my son in Gordon Lee Schools, and saw him graduate from there. I'm a retired special agent with the FBI. I was an agent for 25 years. I was in first office agent in New Orleans, where I cut my teeth on public corruption. From there, I went to Washington, D.C., where I spent most of my career as a senior executive with the FBI. I was the assistant special agent in charge of the Omaha division, and I was the section chief of congressional affairs in Washington. At the end of my career, I chose to come home and retire here. I am now the director of corporate investigations for Unum Insurance Company. I handle all internal investigations along with my staff for Unum, which is a Fortune 250 company, and I handle those investigations all over the world. There are three things that I believe in for my campaign and what I want to put to the county. First is integrity and governance, doing the right thing at the right time for the right reasons, not for profit, not for me, but for the citizens of Walker County. Second is fiscal responsibility, to remember that the money that you pay in taxes is your money, and ensure that we spend that money in the right way for the right things. And then lastly is community engagement, ensuring that we engage with the community and listen to their needs and do the things that we can do. Thank you so much for your support.
And now we'll turn it over to our committee. Let y'all get started.
First question. Do you think the current county ordinances are being unfairly enforced? And if so, what changes would you make?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Do you think the current county ordinances are being unfairly enforced? And if so, what changes would you make?
I believe that we've got ordinances on the books that need to be revised. I do believe that it is very important that we use credentialed personnel to enforce the ordinances. You have to understand and know what you're enforcing before you're sent out and try to do it. So I would definitely say that we would be needing to work on some of our departments and some of the ordinances, which goes back and can go back to our Planning and Zoning Commission, where the ordinances actually start, and look at some revisions on some things, look at upgrading ordinance for today's times, not ordinances that have been on the books so long that they don't even apply anymore. So I would like to see us definitely look at revision, addition, omission to ordinances, and I would like to see definitely credentialed personnel in all those critical positions that have to do with life safety and those types of things. And remembering codes and ordinances, especially on the code side, those are minimum standards. So if we're not making the minimum standard, we're bumping the bottom. And as far as ordinance goes, you know, if we're looking at the ordinance in positions where we're having to look at variances and things like that for ordinance over and over and over, if the same variance pops up for an ordinance over and over and over, then it's time we look at that ordinance, because we shouldn't be having to make variances that often. So I do believe that we have a lot of ordinances that we, like I said, that we do need to definitely revise, review, omit, and add to. And I think that working together as a board to get some folks into positions that are properly trained and qualified credentially will make things much better for us in the future for Walker County, and help us to grow and be fair across the board to every citizen, not select groups. Thank you.
I'll piggyback off of Mr. Askew there. There are some ordinances that I think that we could go back and look at and maybe have to change. And make sure that the ordinances are there to help the people and not hurt the people. A gentleman came to me and told me that the county is coming in and condemning houses because of the way they look and because of things that are around them. Well, we have people in our communities that are older people whose maybe their husbands worked, but the wife didn't. Maybe the husbands have passed on and now it's just the wife there by themselves. And they can't afford to make a lot of changes to their properties. And so some people call them eyesores. So we don't need to go in and condemn places that where some families can't take care of them. We need to be, like I said, each other's neighbors and figure out a way that we can help one another so that our properties can match up with the properties next to ours. If we do that, that's the ways that will help our community, by building up one another. That's the only way that we can help our county.
So one of the problems that you have in county governments is a lack of a strategic plan. And you have ordinances and things along those lines that have come across from administration to administration. And they don't fall into any type of strategic plan. Here's what I would suggest and want to bring forward. The county needs to have and ensure that we have a strategic plan from the top with our budget and with our rules and ordinances. That one, the strategic plan cascades down to every department that we have. That these departments are not running individually, that it's part of a strategic plan that all pools together, moving us in one forward way. Now, with our ordinances in the same manner, we step back, we make sure that we don't have those on the books that don't need to be on the books. We take a look and make sure that they are an honest way of doing business. But most importantly, that they cascade down from the strategic plan that we have for the county, whatever that is. In addition, what I would suggest that each board member, elected board member, be responsible for oversight of each of the departments, so that I have a better understanding. Instead of a 30,000-foot view, I take a better understanding of those departments that those ordinances may be involved in or enforced by. That way, we have a segregation of duties, and we're not just coming to the table and being a rubber stamp for anyone. That we have the inside information, that we're able to come to the table and say, this is what I found in my review. In addition, I would suggest that we do a yearly review. This is something I did all the time in the FBI when I was on the inspection staff. Do a yearly review of all of these things. Is this effective for our government? Is this something we need to do? And then if we need to make changes, we do so. Thank you.
Next question. When we look at the history of the county, the past, or when we look at the mistakes made from the county, what things do you want to implement to make sure that past mistakes don't come again?
So just so I understand, hold on to my time, so I understand and make sure, John, that we are ensured that we don't make the same mistakes
Correct.
of past administrations, and what we would do to ensure for that. Is that
Yes.
accurate?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
excellent. Sure. So everyone knows that past administrations, I don't think this is a secret, past administrations have put us in a position of difficulty. That we have had to come from way behind in budgetary matters and other facilities and our infrastructure. So what we have to do as this brand new Board of Commissioners is we have to come together and understand that what it is we need to do. We need to ensure that we are moving forward in improving the lives of our citizens, improving our infrastructure, and improving our budget. Because, ladies and gentlemen, without the budget, it doesn't happen. Now, one of the things that I've done in the past several months is I have reviewed the top counties in the United States. Johnson County, Kansas, Durango County, Colorado, Fairfax County, Virginia, and then the city of Tulsa, Oklahoma. One of the things that is consistent with all of those entities is this, is their finances. They have a plan. It is strategic. They don't spend money on things they don't need, and they step back and look before they write the check. We need to ensure, which would be different from administrations prior, that we do just that. And we take and we study these other entities and say, what makes them responsible? What makes them improve the things that they do? Tulsa, Oklahoma has come from way back because of their mayor, G.T. Barnum. And Mr. Barnum has instituted a strategic plan that has brought Tulsa to the forefront of some of the cities in this country. We can do the same thing. Strategic planning, ensuring that we are spending the money where it needs to be spent and not on things that it doesn't need to be spent, would be a big change in the way the administrations in the past have done. Thank you.
I think the past mistakes were a single governance. With a single governance, we can be easily influenced by certain people that are going to vote for us to keep us in the position that we're in. Now that we're going to this new panel of boards, we can't easily be influenced because now we're hearing from all of the people. So each community's voices will be heard, and we will have to get together and work together and vote on certain things that will help each and every community in each and every district.
Those are both very good responses, and I'd like to add to that. Our past administrations, present administration, we can look at all of those things. Transparency and opening up and taking the advice and listening to and working together as a think tank and a think pool, we have more opportunity, more ideas, and more brought to the table. I agree that I think with this new board, that's going to start taking effective change immediately, because we will have representatives from different parts of the county bringing the concerns of the citizens of their parts of the county all together and meet as a board and discuss those things and work on them as a county as a whole. So, you know, there's a time that comes eventually it's time to not blame anymore and just start working on the future. We can't change what happened yesterday, but we can darn sure set a course for the future. And if elected, that's what I plan to do.
Gentlemen, the water company, let's talk about that just a minute. Even though it is a separate authority, you may be involved in that with discussion from your constituents. Some constituents, voters have said that because of their income levels or maybe their fixed income situations, the water authority and the bills have become more than they can handle. I don't think anyone that would disagree the water authority may need some help and has had some lack of maintenance issues. But what is your feeling about privatizing the water authority in Walker County? And or your feelings about helping the elderly or those on fixed income that could not afford it, where those of us that are still working can afford it? Your thoughts, please.
As far as privatizing, I'm not sure what the best answer would be as to fix the problems. But what I do know is that when I drive around the county, I always see water running from somewhere. Busted pipe. The county's always digging up something to try and fix it. I think that a lot of the pipes and things, the systems are outdated. And I think it's just going to take money and time to fix them. Like I said, as a taxpayer, and we have a lot of elderly people that can't afford, and we do have a lot of population that are, we'll say, poor or median income, who have other bills that they have to take care of as well. My wife just asked me not too long ago, what is a water usage bill? That's something new that we saw on our bill. We don't know what that is. So as a panel, I think that we would have to sit down and look at all of the things that are going on as far as the water usage, the breakages, the infrastructure, the way that we're fixing the things that we can, and help the people the best way we can. Taxpayers' monies are just that. We pay our county and we pay our government to do what we need them to do. So if our elderly need some help, then it's up to us to sit down and put our heads together and figure out what we can do to ease the burden on everyone.
So first off, privatization sounds like Venezuela. Just saying. I'm not a fan of privatizing municipal issues. I would not want to be held hostage by an outside entity on something as fundamental as water for our citizens. In addition, from a government standpoint, we should be able to handle our municipal issues, especially now that we've got a board coming in. Now, what I would suggest is that we take a complete top-to-bottom review of the water authority and ensure that we have the people on there that need to be on there. We don't have anyone on there that shouldn't be. As Mr. Askew said earlier, that we have individuals that are credentialed and know exactly what they're doing. In addition, the part of the question was helping out our senior citizens. I absolutely believe in that. If we do that with electric bills, there are times when and instances when we can help out those individuals who are in need as far as electricity and water. I think that's something that we should take a hard look at doing. So that would be my thoughts on the Water Authority.
I tend to agree as far as privatizing. I'm not sure that that's the answer. I do know that our water distribution system in the county has suffered just as well as a lot of our infrastructure over the years, maintenance issues, and just absolutely dilapidated, just worn out past the point of rehabilitation. There's going to be some huge strides for us to make to be able to get the monies and appropriate the funding to try to redo some of these things. It's just like with our roads and bridges we've talked about many times. But as far as privatizing, I think it would be something that would have to be looked at by the board. I think that there probably could be some advantages and disadvantages, but I still feel like that a lot of our service delivery needs to be kept municipal and not privatized. And as for our seniors, our low income, and folks like that, there's got to be some incentive programs that we can put together. Here again, as a board, when we come together and convene, we can take the group ideas, put together, and work towards some types of programs that could help those that need the help and make it more of an equal playing field, because we can't just keep rising rates to pay for things. We've got to spread it out. Like I said, there's people that can't afford the rates to continue to rise. So it's a definite issue that we've got to look at. To have a definite answer for it right now, it's not my place. I think the board will look at that together, and I think that the candidates we have in place, once the board's elected, I think we've got the knowledge there that we can pull together a plan and start making an action on it. So that would be my thoughts on that issue.
What is your vision for Walker County's future?
My vision for Walker County's future is very simple. Growth, prosperity, learning, continuing to enjoy the quality of life that we live and love here in Walker County. That's why most of us are still here. Nobody's forcing us to live here. We live here by choice. I want to continue to see us grow. I think we need to be looking forward, looking harder and working to recruit other businesses in, working harder and helping our existing businesses. I think we've got to create definite, defined pathways that are clearly defined for someone coming into the county that chooses to start a business, grow a business, or branch off a business. They need to be given a clear and defined path of what they need to do. They come in and do those things, and we move forward. Right now, we've got some gray areas and some gray water that's going to have to be cleaned up in providing these kind of pathways that will bring the growth, sustainable growth, controlled growth to Walker County, so that, because we do have an abundance of natural resources, and touching back on our water, we've got plenty, we've got real good water. we've got to work on the distribution of that. I'd like to see us continue to move the county forward as it has been, continue to work on reducing our debt, continue to bring in new businesses, but very simply, I want to see it to be continue to keep the quality of life that we've known to love here in the same position that it is, or grow it, not take a step backwards. So that's what I would think about that.
My vision for Walker County is not so much as growth, but more of enhancing. Because I don't know about you, but I love Walker County. I love where I live. We have clean air. We can walk outside, beautiful trees, dirt. We walk into a city, it's nasty. We have a beautiful place here. All we have to do is enhance, take care of the things that we already have. Grow on those things. We don't necessarily have to bring things in. Growth sometimes is not good. What we have now is a very unique place. We have a beautiful place. We have animals. We have fields. We can go outside. We can let our kids go outside and play and not have to worry about things. So my vision is to help the children here. I would like to see a vision that I'd like to see a sports complex here in Walker County. A beautiful complex where our kids can go and play basketball, baseball, football, soccer, tennis, track, whatever they need to do, and also help the schools. We could be part of the school system, and inside there have computers to where we can put teachers in there, to where we can tutor some of the children that are getting left behind. We have a lot of children that are being left behind simply because our teachers are stressed with having to use their paychecks to buy supplies to do their jobs. We're taxpayers. We pay the taxes. Why can't we provide our teachers and the other people the right supplies to take care of the things that we have? My vision is to enhance Walker County and to continue to live a great life.
One of the advantages that I bring to this race is the fact that I've lived in so many different places. And I have seen the good things, like Omaha, Nebraska. If you've never been there, the technology there is incredible. It's where Warren Buffett lives, and the technology is incredible. But I've also seen the bad. I lived in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I've seen what corruption does to a community, and a lack of services and a lack of taxes. So my vision for Walker County is this. We need to be ensuring that our citizens have the opportunity to prosper. And it starts with our kids in school. And we have a very high rate of graduation from high school, but a very low graduation rate from college. Now, I graduated from Georgia State University. I put myself through school working as a janitor. You can't do that today. We have got to figure out ways of helping our kids from our schools in this county to ensure that they get the education that they need, whether that's college education or a technical education. In addition, we need to ensure that we're using the tax rates and tax base that we have in a manner that moves us forward. And also, I do not believe that a county needs to be in business. A county needs to be for business. We need to ensure that we are making an environment and opportunities for businesses to come here. We have good roads, we have good schools, we have good water, we have those things, we have land. We've got to ensure that we are partnering with our businesses to come here, whether that's through tax incentives or whatever it is that we're doing. Now, we're not giving away the farm and keeping the cows, but we're ensuring that we're having opportunities for businesses to come here. This county is a wonderful place. I have lived all over the world, to include the Middle East, and I can tell you, this is a wonderful place. Thank you.
Walker County is a wonderful place. Been in sales like I am, I get to talk to people who've just moved here from other areas, and they constantly comment about how beautiful Walker County is. And it is a beautiful place. We're going to turn it over to the floor now and let you all ask some questions. I was handed a card a while ago, so I'm going to start off with this question while you all are pondering the questions you'd like to ask. How will each one of you, if elected to the board, work with the other elected officers? What will be your strategies for communication to do what is best for Walker County?
like I said, I've lived in Walker County all my life. I know a lot of people here in Walker County. I know a lot of people in each district. Working in the recreation system and being a referee, I meet all kinds of people. I meet everybody. District 2 is the district that I will be representing, but the whole county is the people that I will be representing as well. I know how to work with people. I've worked with people in Chickamauga. I've worked with people in Rossville. I've worked with people in Lafayette, Rock Springs, like I said, on all the boards of recreation. So as far as working together, I think that once we sat down, get this board started, each one of us will bring a unique vision to the table. Now, all of our visions won't be put out front because our visions won't necessarily be the needs of the people. So as a board, we will have to listen to each and every one of our ideas and then determine and decide what is best for the whole county. And the only way to do that is to sit down and work together. So we won't agree on everything, but before that night is over with, we will agree on the best possible answer for our constituents.
One of the things that my experience brings to this issue of working with others is I've had the opportunity throughout my career to work with all different levels of law enforcement, federal governments. When I was in the Middle East, I was the legal attaché for the FBI in the United Arab Emirates in Abu Dhabi. And my job, by myself, I was the lone representative for the FBI there in the Middle East to the UAE and to Oman during the Iraq War in 2003. My job was to ensure that I built partnerships and coalitions with my partners from the UAE and Oman, but also from my different partners within the United States Embassy. Every day, I worked with CIA, Customs, you name it, all of the folks that are there, but every day working with the government of the UAE to ensure that we were taking intelligence information from the battlefield and putting it where it needed to be to save lives of our soldiers. In addition, I've worked all over the world with other governments and built coalition partnerships on a regular basis. That is what I did. As a senior executive with the Bureau, also a senior executive with UNUM, this is what I do. I bring that to this race. I bring that to this position. The one thing I am is a big sandbox player. And with this board, I heard someone say the other day, this was a little bit disturbing. They said this first board is going to be about axe grinding. And the second board is going to be about business. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you this. I pledge you this. There's not going to be any axe grinding from me. There's only going to be striving forward for business. And that's what we're going to do. Thank you.
Repeat the question for me. Just want to make sure I'm hearing it the way I need to hear it.
Let me find the card.
How would you work with the other board members?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I read it specifically what you had it. How will each one of you, if elected to the board, will work with the other elected officials and communicate and do what is in the best interest of the county?
All right. As a new board, it's going to be imperative that we meet very regularly, communicate regularly, and express the views and opinions of our constituents. As my colleagues have said, you know, it's not necessarily our opinions, it's going to be the opinions of the folks that we represent. I would say that we will need to have open conduits of conversation using every medium that there is, from telephone calls, emails, meetings, whatever it takes for us to be able to communicate and to work towards the answers that are best for the community. Now, a part of that is going to be being out in the community and listening to what the folks have to say. And what I would bring to the table and what I think that we need to do is be able to listen to our constituents with, like I've said before, with open eyes, open ears, and more importantly, an open door so that anyone can reach us at any time with concerns, that we can come back and bring them to the table and be able to discuss them with the other elected officials. So My experience in my background, working in municipal government, I was out in the field daily, dealing with folks from every part of the county, talking and hearing their problems. And that's where I learned more than I've learned out of any book or any study or any numbers, is listening to what the people of Walker County say and sharing that with each other. Because the people that I may hear talk may be different from Mr. Veazey's, or Mr. Davis, I'm sorry, sir. But it's very important that we bring it all together and sit down and be able to share what your folks need, what your folks need, what your folks need, all the way across the board. So I think that just the communication factor alone, we have the mediums out there to do it. It's just a matter of being dedicated to that. And that's what you'll get, is dedication for communication with everyone.
Okay, now it's time for your questions. Who has a question for our panelists? Joanne, she's coming around. As it always is, whoever throws their hand up first is always on the opposite side of the room.
This question's for all of you. How do you see public libraries being used in the community, and what is the county's responsibility to ensure they remain open and accessible?
I can see county libraries being used as outreach posts. Like I said, we have a lot of low-income people here and in our communities. And as I said earlier, we could use some of the teachers that we have, if they have the time, and some inspiring teachers to come in and help with our students who are falling behind in their class studies and in their class works. A lot of times, you know, us parents, we have to do a lot of running around, and I don't know about you guys, but this new schoolwork and stuff they do now, it's a little difficult for me. So we need someone that can actually teach these kids these things. And I think that we could utilize the libraries, because the libraries, they already have the books, they have the computers, they have the necessary tools that could be used to actually help our kids that we don't have in our homes. So I think that is the way that we could actually use our community libraries.
I think our libraries are very important. They're the basis of knowledge for everyone, especially our youngsters coming up. Like you said, the libraries are full of books of history, of economics, the things that we all need lessons in, and the quicker that the younger children can learn those, the better they are as they become adults and in a voting age where they can be active in the democratic process. Now, I also think that it's very important through funding that we continue to move our libraries forward. As we all know, in this technological age, you know, computers and those type things are what we're turning to. And so, in funding those and in looking at our libraries, I think it would be important that we try to progressively move them forward as the times change, the demographics change, life changes, and so we have to continue to give the children, the residents, you know, all of us, the opportunity through our libraries, because that is one of the main sources of information. If you want to look back and gather information from the past, learn from it, you learn to keep our history alive, like I said, get economic lessons. It's just important that we continue to move them technologically, advance them, as well as the actual, the hard-covered book. So I think that moving them forward technologically will be in the forefront in the future.
There is nothing more important than the ability to read well. The ability to read well is the foundation of your education. I praise a teacher, Miss Bruton, my English teacher in high school, for pushing me to read and write better. She taught me to enjoy Shakespeare. Now that was tough. She taught me how to read well. Libraries are the hub of education for our communities, not just for our young people. From a continuing education standpoint, from summer reading programs, There is so much that a library can do. And in today's society, we are losing that because people think, all I need is my iPhone. That is shortchanging the opportunities that the library gives us. As a county, we need to ensure that our libraries are forefront in the hub of education of our citizens, the education of our children, and also in continuing education for our adults. There's so much that you can do with a library. It takes creativity, it takes money, and it takes a heart. I have that. As an agent, the main thing that I did was not kick in doors, although I did that. It wasn't good firearms, so I did that. It was writing and reading. That's what a library can do for a young child. It can open up dreams of me reading the Hardy Boys, of me reading Chip Hilton, and learning, and that's what I wanted to do. And by gosh, that dream came true. That's what libraries are. They're a hub of dreams for our children and for our community. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I appreciate everything that y'all said in the group before, and you have some good visions and ideas for the county, but nobody has ever mentioned, we're on such a tight budget now. How do you think that you can do all these things with the tight budget that we have? What is your vision or plan for that?
You hit the nail on the head. It's about the dollar. Budgets and money is going to be the root of making things progress. Now, we cannot continue to tax ourselves out of debt. That's not going to work, and we all know that. But I will tell you that there are multiple grant programs. There's monies accessible to help us in multiple areas of county government, not just in our libraries and things like that, but there are grants and things out there for infrastructure repair. There's a lot of things that we need to be looking at outside of our taxpayer budget that we have to help us create more income. And that's kind of like when we talk about bringing in other businesses. I don't want to bring in a bunch of manufacturing facilities and dirty the air, but we have to have a tax base or money to fund any of the programs that we've all talked about and the ones that we'll be talking about in the future. So we've got to look at alternative ways, maybe government-private partnerships, things where we can solicit help from industry or private donation. There's just a lot of things that we can be doing, I think, that would help us to broaden the base of where we get our money, and then being very, very vigilant on how the money is doled out and spent, because that's going to be, we only have so much to work with, and we do have a multitude of issues that we have to address. So here again, as the new board, I think that's going to give us a totally new dynamic with 5 different ideas representing all the county and coming together, and I think that will help us to diversify where we get our funding, how we get our funding, and how we spend our funding.
Again, a vision is just that, a vision. We know that the whole vision may not be able to come to fruition, but some of that vision may come to fruition. With the budget, it seems the budget is being paid down, starting to come down. Once we're able to utilize some of those funds, then we can start putting our visions into action. Chipping away at the deficit that we have now, the things that people have wanted in the past can start to come to the front. We can start working on some of those things. But our visions are just that. Once again, a vision. What we want to see, what the people want. Once we get ourselves back fiscally, financially able to do things, then that's when our county will get to reap the rewards of our tax-paying dollars.
So I want to try and answer your question directly. And here is my plan for that. And it's the question, why? The thing that this board needs to do more than anything else is ask the question, why? Why are we spending that money? In a republic is what we have. You vote us in order to make decisions for you. We are transparent in how we make those decisions, but we make those decisions. What I would suggest and recommend is that we have a committee of management and budget, so that the 5 of us are not just sitting there looking at each other and saying, I've got this idea, and it goes like that. That we are working in a strategic manner and looking at every single expense that we have and asking the question, why? Why are we spending this? And then next, what are we getting for that? When I say we, I mean you. What are the taxpayers actually receiving for this? And I would like to do a top-down review of every single expense that we have. And I don't care how small or how large it is. And ask that question, why? Why are we spending this? And if we don't need to be spending this, then by golly, we don't spend it anymore. And that's really the only way that we're going to make any kind of changes. Prior administrations have gotten us in a pickle from our financial situation. We have to service debt. Now, I don't know the exact numbers, but I can guarantee you that it's quite a bit of money that we are doing nothing more than servicing debt. Now, we're going to have to continue doing that, but at the same time, from a fiscal responsibility issue, we need to do a top-down review. My suggestion is have a committee of management and budget, and so that we put our heads together and ask the question every single time, why? Why are we spending this, and what are we getting for it? And if we're not getting anything for it, then by golly, we don't do it anymore. Thank you very much.
We got time for one more. Go ahead.
So I'm going to kind of go against the grain here. I know there's been a lot of questions about what you're going to do for the county. I want to know what you're going to do for District 2, for Chickamauga.
Well, as I've stated, I'm raised in Chickamauga. It's my home. I live in District 2. My children live in District 2. I make my living in District 2. What I'm going to bring to the table for District 2 is open ears and a voice. I'm going to be out. I know a large majority of the folks in District 2. Been blessed to make acquaintances with many, and I plan to meet many more. But what I want to do for District 2 in the Chickamauga Rock Springs District is to make sure that their needs are heard, that their opinions and voices matter, and represent those with the new board. Like my colleagues have stated earlier, the board will be making decisions for all of Walker County, not just specifics for our districts, but we need to bring the needs, the wants, and the desires of our individual districts to that table. And that's one thing that I'm not afraid to do, is to listen and then bring those needs to the table so that they'd have to be brought out and discussed and looked at. Quality of life, like I said, want to continue the quality of life that we all enjoy and love in Walker County, and continue to expand on that, grow our future by growing our kids. And a great part of our district as well is protecting our small businesses, helping our small businesses grow, because District 2 is one of the faster growing districts in the county. And we have the opportunity with our industrial park and some other things that we can do some things that District 2 can lead the way for some of the other districts as far as helping to turn things around and bring new revenue sources, new ideas, like I said, other programs that can come and help everyone, help all districts. But I'd like to see District 2 be in the forefront, leading the pack.
What I'm going to do in District 2 is what I think all the other district commissioners will do. And that's what the constituents of District 2 want me to do. I'm going to voice District 2's opinion. I'm going to voice every need and every concern that they have, whether I like the idea or not, because we are all neighbors. We don't all have the same ideas. We don't all have the same visions, but we are neighbors, and we live side by side in District 2 day in and day out. Our kids live in District 2. Our kids play together. Our kids play with other kids in the county. District 2, I would like to see whatever District 2 constituents want, that's what I will do.
So this new board gives us the opportunity to engage with and represent a certain segment of the Walker County public. What you probably have seen with me on stage is I'm about a AAA personality, and that's what I bring to it. You know, I heard someone say the other day that the majority of the people that I talk to are in the lines at Food Line, and that's the truth. So here's what I'll do. I learned this a long time ago from Assistant Director John Otto with the Bureau. Mr. Otto carried around a 3x5 card in his shirt, and he talked to agents every day. Tell me what's going on. Tell me what you need. He would write that down, and then he would get back in touch with you. In addition, Director Mueller, when I worked with him, I sat right next to his office on the 7th floor. Every day, he would come to the cafeteria and sit down with agents and support staff that he didn't know, and he'd say, tell me what we need. I learned from both of those individuals two things. One, to sit down with people, even if you don't know them, and ask them what they need and what's going on in their lives. And then two, the most important thing is to follow back up. I will have a lead system, is what I call it in the way I talk. If you talk to me at Food Line, I'm going to have this little card. It's going to have a thing that I can write on. I'll take that. I'll give you a copy of it. That gives you an opportunity to say, hey, I talked to Mark in Food Line about a month ago, and I haven't heard back from him. Well, it's not going to be like that, because I've got my part of it, and I'm going to call you back. That's what I have learned from both of those individuals that I worked with. It's about calling you back and checking on you. When Director Mueller came to Omaha and checked on me and checked on my son, Kyle, who is a brain injury patient, he said to me before he left, Mark, I want to know how Kyle is doing. About a month later, my telephone rang on my desk, and it was Director Mueller, the busiest man you've ever seen in your entire life. He came by and he said, how's Kyle? I want to be just like that. Thank you very much.
Okay, we're going to allow the candidates to give 2-minute closing statements. Start with you, or whoever wants to go.
First of all, I do want to thank the Transparency Group for having us here today. I think it's a great opportunity for us. I want to thank each and every one of you who've come out, despite the corona scare, to come out and listen to and hear your candidates speak and make your opinions based on facts. I just can't reiterate the importance of experience. I think that to move the board forward in a very positive way, we need some experience. We need some folks with some experience in the infrastructure and in the things that are going to be in our face when we start this first board. I think that the ability to reach out to your neighbor, to listen to your neighbor, like I said, with open eyes, open ears, and an open door, with honesty and integrity, that's what we want to bring to the table. I think it's also, I want to take this opportunity while in closing, that I think it's very important, and it's been touched on earlier, and I think all of the candidates will agree, that on May 19th is the day. May 19th is the primary, and we've got to have this thing work the way that we the citizens have voted it in for a board. We've got to be active, and we've got to have voters to come out and voice their opinion on May 19th. Also, equally important is our SPLOST vote is coming up on May 19th. And as all candidates know, the things that we would like to see moving us forward, the things that the ideas, the projections, the dreams that we have are all based, are economically or financially driven. And that SPLOST gives us the opportunity for some monies that will help us to make these things come true. Without it, we're going to be in trouble. So not only do you come out and support your candidate of choice, but look at the other things on the ballot and help support that SPLOST vote so that the monies are appropriate for whoever your candidates are elected to be able to do their job. I thank you for your support and ask you for your vote.
I'd just like to say that the children are our future. The elderly are our inspiration. The ones in between, we are the workers, we are the doers. We are the caretakers now. If we can't help our children advance and go on and be great citizens, then we're doing nothing. If we can't help our elderly who have given us a path and given us a head start, then we're doing nothing. We're just standing here talking about money, bickering amongst one another. What I like to see is us become one in a county, District 2, District 3, District 4, one. Be together. And that's, with a panel, we can all go and represent each and every individual in our county, build a better future, build our county up, continue to live the great lives that we're living. District 2, I will do everything in my power to do what you want me to do, and I need your vote to do that.
I believe in Walker County. That's why I came here. That's why I moved here. As I said in my opening, I could have gone anywhere I wanted to go, but this is where I wanted to come and retire and put my kids in school and live here. My wife and I were eighth grade sweethearts. We've been married 36 years. We made the decision to come here and live here and probably die here. In my study of the top counties in the country, there are three things that have come about that they have in common. First is finances. They handle their finances well. Second is they don't have fear. They don't have fear of change. Ladies and gentlemen, this new board is that. It is a change. Do not fear it. We need people in this that can move this forward with experience. I started out in difficult socioeconomic conditions. My father was sick. My mother went to work for minimum wage. I put myself through college as a janitor. I know hard work. And I guarantee you this, you won't outwork me. I believe that this new board, and I believe that we can do great things here in Walker County. I believe that I have the experience of my years in the Bureau as a senior executive, that I can bring something different, a different set of skills. When I was in college, I started out as an unpaid intern at a wholesale record distribution center. I worked as a janitor. I was also an unpaid intern, 2 jobs and going to college. I left that job as vice president of operations only because of hard work. This is what I bring to the table. I ask for your support so that we can move forward. Thank you very much.
That concludes District 2 forum. We'll be getting started about 5 minutes with District 3. Thank you so much.